Jeff Nadu, Barstool Sports, affectionately known as the big man on campus, BMOC, for the purposes of this, early lines. But since we have live Tuesday night football, if you go to barstoolbets.com, he's got a deep dive preview to take a look at the game. There's a chance for people to make a couple bucks tonight. Jeff Nadu, big man on campus, Barstool Sports, right now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Jeff, what's up, pal?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
All is well. We got Tuesday night football. There's the Tuesday night football, catch your fancy at all here. You like this game?
I do. I do like this game. I think for me, though, and I think, if you know just a little bit about wagering, you can kind of understand what kind of game we're looking at here. This is a Bills team that's been very good. They're very publicly backed right now. People want to play the Bills. I will tell you this, though, and I've noticed this with Buffalo. They have been very good in the first half, but in the second half, for whatever reason, they sort of played out of competition. We saw them blow a big lead to the Rams. They did it against the lowly Jets. They've done it every game this year. So I'm not jumping to lay 3.5, especially with a hook there on that 3. I'm actually looking at it at a different level. Obviously, Tennessee coming off a long off time. They were off since basically September 22nd. That was the last time they played. You got to look at this injury report right now. Not exactly good. They're not going to have Adoree Jackson. They're not going to have Christian Fulton, two of their best corners. Look, and when you're playing the Bills, Mike, right now, that is the wrong two guys you want out. Also not going to have Jeffrey Simmons. This is a tightened defensive line that just doesn't get to the quarterback. And that's one of the reasons they have been so inept at stopping teams so far this season. I'm actually going to go with the Bills team total. You can actually get plus money right now on that. And it's under that 28 number. It's 27.5. The Bills have scored 27 or more in every game this season. I don't think they have any trouble lighting it up. They've been very good in the red zone scoring touchdowns. And when you have a team like you need points with, or if you need points in general, you want at least one team to play a pace game where they're going to go quick, they're going to snap the ball. Tennessee is a team that runs a quick pace, and while Buffalo doesn't, they're very efficient. I'm going to just kind of stay away from the Bills' defense. I don't necessarily trust them, but I do trust the Bills with Josh Allen and those receivers to shoot up and down the field on Tennessee.
So, by the way, against the spread, Buffalo's 3-1, Tennessee's 0-3, and obviously you said Bills team total on that, and it started at 3.5 this game, and it's pretty much stayed there all the way across. So a lot of people like that Tuesday night game. You got Bills and Titans right here on 97.3 ESPN. One of the things, by the way, check out Barstool Sports' new app, and Barstool Bets is where Jeff writes his blog. He does deep dives, college football. We do a Saturday preview now at 9 o'clock, Jeff and I, every Saturday, 9 a.m. right here, 97.3 ESPN. But one of the reasons we want to get Jeff in on a Tuesday is to get those early lines. What are some of the early things that you should jump on early before that line starts to make the move, Jeff? And, it's interesting. I look at a game like the Browns and the Steelers, and I wonder, are people starting to take the Browns serious? Opened up 5.5, now down to 3.5 here. So are people looking at the Browns series? That line already jumped a little bit.
Yeah, the Browns are interesting. I actually had them last week. That was one of my favorite plays of the week on the Sunday card. And you look at the Browns, have covered 4 in a row. They've been one of the best offenses in the NFL. My issue with the Browns, though, Mike, is I'm just still not real interested in that defense. It was pretty evident Sunday and in weeks past that they're not a real good defense. They have a good offensive or a good defensive line. And I like the matchup against a Colts group that was going to be without their left tackle. But this is a Steeler offensive line that's very good. They should be able to keep Big Ben Roethlisberger upright. If you can do that, you can move the football on the Browns. I also look at the Steeler defense. They didn't exactly stop the Eagles over the weekend. Miles Sanders obviously had a big run. I mean, Mike, that run Miles Sanders had, you don't see that very often outside of college, an HB draw that just goes up the middle for 70-plus yards. So this is a game where if I'm looking at this, I'm looking a little bit more at the total. I told myself after Sunday, I got out with a Browns win with Baker Mayfield, a reckless quarterback who will throw the ball into anything. I'm not making that mistake again. I'm willing to think they can both move the football here. 50.5 is too low.
By the way, follow at Jeff Nadu on Twitter. If you do, you cashed in on that Browns. You also cashed in a little UFC, a little sneaky play that Jeff gave you there on the UFC on Saturday night. There's a couple other quick NFL games. I know college is something that you really are doing well on this year, but last night we saw the Chargers. 8.5 it opened. I see it at 5.5, 6.5 against the Jets. The Jets got all sorts of problem, and you wonder after watching Herbert on national TV, are people going to start jumping on the Chargers?
Yeah, I think they will. But one thing I like about the Chargers is Herbert's playing at a really high level for them. You could make the case he was the better quarterback last night, Mike, over Drew Brees. He was terrific. He's done some great things. They've had chances to win all these games. The problem that the Chargers have is they just don't win those sort of games against a bad Jets team, a Jets team that I've actually tried to give shots to. They've had opportunities against a pretty mediocre, injury-ridden Niner team that completely had nothing in that game. The Indianapolis Colts put up 30-plus points on them. This is a bad football team that's quit on their coach. I'm surprised Adam Gase is still there. Now he's talking about he'll do anything that whether it's giving play calling up. The guy's just a lame duck. He's an awful hire that should have never happened to begin with. I'm just not real enticed to lay points. But again, it's the Jets, and I feel like you can lay points with anyone right now with the Jets. Yeah. I will say this, Mike. One game that I have my eye on is the Cardinals-Cowboys. I guess that's going to be your Monday night game?
That's the second Monday night game.
Sure, yeah. So it'll be Chiefs, Bills, and then this one. Look, Mike, I can't exactly tell you how bad the Cowboys' defense is, but I'll try to. When you put it up against a college defense, because that's how they're playing right now, college defenses. College defenses give up 35, 36 points a game. When you look at the college ranks right now, there are 75 teams in play. Only 15 have given up more than 36 points a game. That's how bad the Cowboys' defense has been. Again, I'm not quite sure why they're so bad, but they made Daniel Jones and the Giants look like the Chiefs. If not for a crazy catch, who knows what happens in that game? But again, they're going to be without Dak Prescott. I'm willing to think Andy Dalton can move this offense. We know he's a guy that is a good quarterback. I think the Cardinals are a team. I don't trust their defense either. Look, until further notice, Cowboys overs are bets you need to make.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy, dude. I mean, I'm watching the Giants who scored, 11 points a game, and they're moving the ball with ease. You like to think that I don't want the Cowboys to be good, but you like to think that as time goes on, they can start cutting down some points. But to give up 34 to the Giants, it's just piss poor. I mean, terrible. Embarrassing almost. But we'll see what happens with that defense. Can they turn it around? I like what you said, Jeff. Let's go to the college game. The college card is very interesting, and on a Tuesday here, you got an opportunity because obviously you got Wednesday games, you got Thursday games, you got Friday games, and then the card on Saturday. Early on in this week, something that stands out to you with all these Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or is there something on Saturday that you like?
Well, it's just more and more teams, Mike, playing. I mean, we obviously have some stats now to go off of. We can kind of figure out, or at least I can figure out, which teams are good and which teams aren't. We're also obviously going to have in a couple weeks all but 3 teams in college football playing. That means 127 out of 130 teams will be in play. One game that, and I think I talked about this last week with you with the Naval Academy in Temple. It's pretty clear that if you watch Navy, they are a bad defensive team. They don't get stopped. Their offense is crisp with a new quarterback, but he can throw the ball a little bit. ECU is what I would consider a bad football team. This is a group that can't stop anybody. Their quarterback play is actually quite good, Mike. They have a pretty good offense. They have receivers that I think could actually play at the next level. We continue to see the odds makers seem to not understand that the totals they're putting out are just too low. We see that across the board in college football. It's hard sometimes to price these teams because you might have one team that's played 3 or 4 games and one team that's not played at all. So Navy ECU, that's a game I bet early. I got 61. That's actually at 60.5. It's come down a little bit. You also have SEC. You look at a team at Ole Miss who you talk about historically bad defenses. That game against Alabama the other night, I don't even want to kind of describe how bad it was for Ole Miss because it was really bad. But this week, bookmakers have kind of caught up. They're pricing Arkansas Ole Miss at 78. The problem you have in this game, Mike, is Arkansas is not a team that wants to wing it up and down the field. One of the keys to them beating Mississippi State a couple weeks back was the fact that they could keep the ball out of Mike Leach's hands, in the quarterback's hands there, KJ Costello. I think they try to do the same thing here against Ole Miss. If you can run the ball effectively, you can keep the ball out of Ole Miss's hands. I think that's going to cut down on some possessions here. 78 is really high. The highest you'll see in college football is usually 84, 85. We're getting towards that territory there. It's hard to bet Ole Miss unders, but don't be surprised if this one's like, I don't know, 45-21 or something.
Yeah, I know. And last week, Syracuse-Duke was a game I think a lot of people were looking at. Syracuse, a pick'em. It opens with Liberty. It's 3.5 here. A lot of people look at, you got a conference team against a non-Power 5 and want to try to jump on that particular game. After Syracuse got dusted by Duke last week, should I trust Syracuse this week against Liberty?
No. I mean, I wouldn't trust Syracuse to do much of anything ever, Mike. This is a team that for, large parts of last season and this season has struggled. They haven't seemed real embracing of the Dino Babers offense. I don't necessarily think that they have players that can run it. Liberty over the years has actually been a pretty good offensive team. They have a new quarterback this year, but they put a ton of points up on a board over the weekend against UL Monroe. So, yeah, am I looking to lay points with a team like Syracuse? No, I'm not.
All right, we got the college slate Saturday. We're going to dive deeper into these on the Saturday conversation with Jeff, big man on campus, at Jeff Nadu on Twitter. Follow him over there, Barstool Sports. Check out the new Barstool Sports app, and you can get your bets in as we like to take a look at these early lines here. Now, is there anything else out there before we let you roll? You got baseball players. You don't do a lot of baseball, though. I know the soccer's on a little bit of a break. Is there anything this week? I know you already put out a college football play on your Twitter handle, so follow him at Jeff Nadu over there to get that play. But is there anything else out there early in the week that you're liking that people should maybe jump on?
Yeah, I'm just kind of spending some time with these games. Obviously, I think betting college football a lot of the time is beneficial to me. But, with all the protocols and with all the COVID stuff, I am a little bit more cognizant at firing on everything early in the week. Obviously, I think you need to follow some of these reports. Obviously, in the NFL, there's a lot of injuries now. It just seems like a lot of injuries across the board. So, I'm still kind of working through some things. One thing I am, Mike, doing a lot of right now, I actually wrote on BarstoolSports.com, I did an entire mock draft for the first round. The NBA draft is actually in just about a month. The season just ended, but this is a fascinating draft, Mike. There's not necessarily a ton of top-tier talent, but there's a lot of really good talent. I did a deep dive into every team, what they need, what I think they do. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I am a basketball oracle, and I could tell you anything about any player, any team, anytime. And I did that on that blog. So you want to see what the Sixers are going to do? They have work to do. I think the Sixer fans might like who I took them, have them taking. So go check that out as well. I'm already working through props and stuff that I want to kind of get into and hopefully find. So, yeah, soccer will be back as well this weekend.
You want to make sure you're following Jeff for soccer at Jeff Nadu. Soccer plays, UFC, college football. Jeff and I will reconvene on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. We will dive into the Saturday slate, some football games, and on Tuesdays for the early lines right here with Jeff Nadu, BMOC, big man on campus from Barstool Sports. All right, Jeff. Everybody, by the way, it was Bills team total tonight. You get plus money on that. And I believe you said Navy on the over there against East Carolina. My girlfriend went to East Carolina. I love watching those games. They give up a ton of points at ECU.
They do. I've bet them a couple times, and as I said on your show last week, Navy's over hit with ease last week, so I don't see any different this week. I think that total is too low. I think it's like a 41-34, 41-30 type of game.
Great to have college back. Big Ten back next week, and then the Pac-10, Pac-12 will be behind them. All right, Jeff, we'll catch up on Saturday, man.
Thank you, Mike.
Jeff Nadu, big man on campus, Barstool Sports.